right on into it. So here we go, guys. Hey, everybody. This is called Real Talks. I am Frank and I'm here with Thomas.
What up, everybody? Well,
and
that was a change for me, actually.
Yes, it is. So this is going to be our free form discussion about movies and video. Oh boy, I right away jumped into the wrong thing. Movies and shows. And what the hell, video games sometimes too.
Yeah. And this is just open conversation.
Yeah.
You know, like this is going to be, I'm sure, a lot more unedited than we normally do. And this is just us off the cuff. So yeah, totally something new we're trying, and I'm stoked. This is gonna be fun.
Yeah. So we're wrapping up May. We're at the end of May, and it's been a solid month. Why don't you kick off with your topic here?
Yeah. So I figured, it would be something fun. Maybe we try to do every month if we could, but just some of the best things that we watched this month.
Yeah.
I think X-Men 97 ended this month as well, right?
It did.
So
yeah,
it's been a wild month already. It's only going to get crazier kicking off June too.
What was your favorite part about X-Men 97?
Oh man. Wow. That is a very loaded question in a lot of ways. There's so much to love about it while I'm staring at my Wolverine X-Men 97 Hasbro toy here.
Yeah.
But it was the updated. Okay. It was updated nostalgia, to quote Drake. It just had great action. It had a lot of heart in it. It really focused on the characters, and I thought the characters, they got so right. I was surprised by that. And then you top it off with just badass action. And it's like, this is probably going to be the best thing I watch all year. Again, I've said it multiple times, I'm biased, but I'm sticking to that. I think this will be my top show of the year for everything. Live action, animation, everything.
I really liked how big the community was. There are plenty of my friends who either didn't watch, maybe didn't even care for the series, but for those who did, we were invested fully. And so like, there were so many times where I'm up at like 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, threading out there, and people are threading back, and we're just discussing really cool things,
Yeah. Wasn't that crazy? Like, yes, because you could watch it at midnight and then you could throw something out at like 1 a.m. and then there would be a bunch of people liking or responding, and you're like, wait, what?
That happens nowhere else. If you put out a social media post in the middle of the night, it's going to die. You're just out there for posterity. But this was like active communities in the middle of the night that all waited up to watch it. And that was so much fun.
You're right. The community element to this show was fantastic. Unbeat that I've seen so far, because I think a lot of podcasts, a lot of news organizations are having this conversation, which is like event TV's kind of gone outside of sports. Mm-hmm. Like back in the day, you had Lost, you had ER, you had West Wing, like those big shows that people people waited for that new episode to drop so that they could talk about it the next day at work or around the
water cooler. Yeah,
exactly. And we don't have that anymore, really. And so X-Men 97, you're so right, delivered on that.
Yeah, and I looking forward, I'm not necessarily sure. We have acolytes, so like that's all going to be cool. But until we get into the meat of it, we can't predict something that we're going to be waiting up for. I would probably say Daredevil's our best bet, because it's bringing back so many things we already know, like X-Men 97 did. It's just building on something that we already like. So it can possibly do that.
Yes, I agree for Marvel, for sure. I think House of the Dragon has that possibility.
Yeah.
Because it was so big, I think you being the House of Dragon expert and Game of Thrones expert, way more than a lot of people out there, I think you're going to bring a lot to the table. And I think you could build a solid community around that. I'm curious to see what The Boys season 3 does, because I know it's going to go heavy political. I think that there's going to be a lot of people that are not going to dig it or not tune in for that. But people who know what The Boys are about are going to love it. I'm going to love it because I dig the hell out of The Boys universe. So I'm going to be pretty on that. And then I love Star Wars. So, and the Acolyte and the High Republic, I don't really know a ton about. So I think this is going to be cool for me going in and just be like, what is this? Like, what is this world about?
Squeaks read the books, so I'm going to be tapping into him for that stuff. But so he knows Vanessa.
We're going to have him on a bunch of episodes.
Exactly.
Yeah. Definitely.
But as for that, I'm excited to watch something that I don't know a lot about. I think that's gonna be nice. X-Men we knew a lot about. You knew a lot about. And so
Mm.
yeah, it'll be cool to watch something that we're not too super familiar with. Um,
Yeah. Speaking of accent, last thing I'll say, I haven't even thrown it out there, but I was like, oh, do I say this? I'm like, is this braggy? Is this? I don't even know if this is like a weird thing to brag about. I read all the X-Men, but like most of the X-Men runs, I would say like 90% of them from 2019, starting in House and Powers of X, all the way through. I'm now in 2022.
yeah,
So yeah, I've read, yeah. So that
that's
was like
amazing. Yeah,
over like 200 comics in the
Jesus
X-Men
Christ.
mythos. Yeah, which dude, it's been wild. So yeah, I feel very knowledgeable about new X-Men right now. I'll say
Yeah.
that.
So if you guys have any questions, you hit him up over on Threads, and he'll make sure to answer your question.
Definitely.
Speaking of like social media stuff like that, and discussing things, and you're talking about the boys, like it's gonna be very political. So I think one of the things that's important is knowing where your audience is at. I look forward to
Mhm.
talking about the boys. I'll talk about them on Threads. I will
Mhm.
not talk about them on Twitter because Twitter
For
is this
sure.
hostile wasteland where if I put something out there that I mentioned something similar to a political belief, I'll just get jumped on. But in Threads, we'll actually have a conversation about
Totally.
it, and so I look forward to
Yes.
that. And to a degree, actually, YouTube, not TikTok. TikTok again is like X in that way where it's like, oh my god. But on YouTube, I've
Mm.
noticed that there is actually some decent conversation going on about stuff like that.
Yeah, no, you're so right. There's comments I make, and I say things usually in social media very tongue in cheek. I'm never like
Mhm.
fully
Right.
serious about any of it, but yeah, like I have definitely gotten my throat like jumped down on
Hmm.
X by things or uh, TikTok a little bit, but I obviously don't have that big of a following over there, but like on Threads, it is a comment. Like some things where I'm like, man, people could take this the wrong way or whatever. We'll see. It does become a conversation. I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. It's just like, yeah, well, what did you think about this? Where we'll talk about like the shows I most liked this month outside of X-Men. One of them was Dark Matter, and
Hmm.
I was threw something out there like Dark Matter is like been really awesome show to watch, and somebody compared it to Three Body Problem on
Yeah.
Netflix. And it's the same thing. It's Benny Weinoff or whatever, the guys who did House Game of Thrones, as you know, and but the people were like, I couldn't really get into it. You really like Dark Matter? I was like, yeah, I got into it way easier than I did Three Body Problem. I think the story's way more clear, even though there's deep sci-fi in it, yada yada. And I was like, wow, this is like a good conversation. This is like
Yeah.
something I want to talk about, not like, oh, it's so woke bullshit or whatever people would say.
Have you heard the story behind Three Body Problem? Like not
Yeah, yeah.
but the production part of it.
Not, oh, no, no. What was the production side of it?
Holy, it's fascinating. So okay, so there's
Really?
like, and I'm gonna go real broad strokes on this, guys, because I don't know all the details. This might be something we could talk about on a future version of this show.
Uh,
Um, so generally, there's Star Wars is coming out and it's super big, right? This guy over in China, who was like a billionaire, he's like, I want a Star Wars. I want a
yeah.
franchise that's beloved
Wait,
like this.
did I send you this TikTok?
Did you send it to me or did I send it
Yeah,
to you?
yeah, yeah. I sent it to you, dude.
You sent it to
Yeah.
me. We are sending each other reels and TikToks all the
A
fucking
lot,
time.
a lot. Yeah,
How
yeah, yeah.
fascinating was that? Was that
Yeah, yeah.
story, dude? Okay, so I'm not going to tell any more of it because I think we should actually like
Just
fully develop
repost
that
it
and let's post it.
or
Yeah, but I
yeah,
want to
yeah,
fully
yeah.
develop that for one of these real
Yeah.
talks where we talk about like Three Body Problem because
Oh, okay,
amazing.
okay, gotcha. No, but okay, so yes, yeah, that was all super fascinating. I agree, but that wasn't the first time I heard that story. It was just the nicest done I saw in a video,
Mhm.
and I was blown away by it because there was also, yeah, there was a bunch of other random things that happened to that guy
Yeah.
before he even came up with the idea. Like it was crazy. Like we interviewed on Joystick Show this guy who does a podcast about Shonen Jump, and
Mhm.
Shonen Jump is basically
Oh,
like
that's
an
cool.
anthology
Yeah.
magazine, right? Yeah, as you know. But
All your
it's
favorite animes came from it, basically. If you want to go crazy with that, yeah.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. But they do like a science fiction version in China, and that
Mhm.
guy was posting just like little blurbs in it before he even came up with the idea of like, I want to, he probably always wanted to make a Star Wars, but like he didn't really know he could do that till it started getting like really popular in this
Yeah.
magazine thing. And yeah, I just thought that was really fascinating. But also for the fact that like the guys from Game of Thrones then picked it up and thought it was a fascinating book. And,
Mhm.
it's just a whole really crazy story. So That show was okay. I watched probably 4 or 5 episodes, never
Mhm.
really loved it. I think the
Yeah.
cast is fascinating. I think the premise is fascinating. But with Dark Matter, which would be like one of the, I have a list here of like the top shows I think
Mhm.
in May outside of X-Men, and it's probably like, it's number 2 on my list.
Yeah. That's high praise. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you checked it out?
Not yet. No, I know you've been talking a lot about it. I haven't watched it yet. Yeah.
Yeah, I got into a whole conversation with some people about it on Friday. Just went
Mhm.
out like to some friends, and we're sitting at the bar, and people are like, what are you watching? And Dark Matter came up, and it's Joel Edgerton, I think, I don't know how you
Yeah.
say it, and
Edgerton.
Jennifer Connelly. And dude, it is really fascinating because it seems very much just like a family drama, and then all of a sudden like the husband gets kidnapped, and then
Yeah.
boom, it dives into like it is doing the multiverse so well, but not in a way that we've seen from Marvel. We've talked about it ad nauseum, I think, about how
Mhm.
Marvel hasn't really done a good job with their multiverse. And then we talked about Everything Everywhere All at Once on Challenge Accepted, and how that did it really well. Well, this is doing it really well too, but in a completely different way, and
Yeah.
very, very serious. Like the repercussions of how scary some of the multiverse could be if you were in it, in these like terrible situations, whether like the whole it takes place in Chicago, so if it was completely in an ice age, or if there was no ozone layer and then the sun was just eating away at the city or the planet, like
Yeah.
it gets like kind of scary and freaky and weird. So yeah, it's cool, man. Really cool
That's cool.
show.
What was the name of the show again? One more time for everybody at home.
Dark Matter.
Dark
Yeah,
Matter,
it's
and
on
that's on Apple, right?
Apple.
Yeah.
Yep, on Apple TV. Yeah, and
Okay.
Apple TV, I think, is so slept on for
Oh my God.
sci-fi,
Yeah. Dude, for
right?
all mankind, I was just telling Jonathan, like, that shit deserves to be in IMAX, and it's crazy that you could just get it on Apple. It's nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, you're 100% right. For All Mankind is shot so well. I
Mhm.
think it's just an interesting premise too. Like what do they call it? Where it's like a different version, like fiction history or something, like
Oh,
revisionist
yeah, gosh.
history.
Yeah, vision. Yeah, God, I'm a, what'd you say again? Revisionist history? Is that what you just said?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know what
Something like that.
there's a
Yeah,
certain genre
there's a
term
certain for it.
for it, right?
And it's a
Where it's like,
blast too. One of my favorites, I'll go with it's so wackadoo, but it's actually very good. The book is Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. Same thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
The book is
That's
very good. The movie's nuts.
the movie is crazy, but yeah. So they're doing sci-fi super well. They had what was the other one? There was another sci-fi show. The fall. I don't know.
Big Door Prize.
The Foundation.
Oh, okay.
The Foundation for season 1 was fantastic too. Check
Yeah.
it out. But yes, the other show I want to shout out, and it's not like this would be a consolation show. I just enjoy it. I don't think it's for everybody, and it definitely is not getting a lot of attention. But season 2 came out, and I like it. I'm liking it a lot. Is Big Door Prize.
Yeah.
And it's just a small town, follows this family. The husband's a teacher. The wife is just kind of selling like some goods to get by. And this machine pops up in this little town, and you go into it, and you type in, you do your fingerprint, height, weight, blah, blah, blah. And then it gives you what your life's purpose is supposed to be.
Mhm.
And then it really just shows how it starts affecting the whole town. And the principal of the school like was told to be like a motorcycle rider.
Yeah.
The mayor of the town was told dancer. The
Mhm.
wife was told royalty. And then the main character, who is a teacher and does this, his main thing I think is teacher flute. And he's like, what the frick is no teacher whistler? And he was
Yeah.
like, what the frick does this mean? Like, I already do. He whistles a lot, and he's a teacher. He's like, my life's purpose is just what I'm doing, and how
Yeah.
like kind of disappointing that is. So
Yeah.
it's just a fun show. I really dig it.
Yeah. I know Squeaks is a big fan of that too. So
Oh, really?
yeah,
Heck yeah, we got to talk
that's a good
about
one.
that. That'd be awesome.
What other ones in May are big hits?
So the I've also been diving into some anime as well.
Mhm.
Before I get to my number one, the animes that I'm really digging, and Drake had recommended it, and I finally had the chance to watch it. Is Blue Lock. It's
Okay.
it's like Squid Games for soccer.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it is fascinating. Like it's crazy how this kid wants to be like the top soccer player in Japan. And,
Hmm.
they're one game away from getting like the national championship. And he has the ball. It's just him and the goalie or him and one last defender. And he's like, I could just shoot this and score and we would win. But for some reason, he passes it. And this kid kicks the ball. And instead of it going in, it hits the post, they lose. And so it like eats at him. He's like, oh my God, if
Yeah.
I just took over, if I just did this. And then he gets this letter in the mail that says, hey, if you want to be one of the best players for Japan, come to this thing. And there's this crazy maniacal guy. His name is Ego. And he's just basically gives everybody this ultimatum. If you want to be the best striker in Japan, do this program. You have to basically forfeit all the teams you're on. You can't see your family. You have to live here for the next whatever couple months. And whoever makes it to the top, you'll automatically join like Japan's national team.
Yeah.
And so it's like all these people, and it's like anime personalities, kooky people, and weird crap that happens. And they're like, I gotta level up, but it's really, really good.
That sounds good. Right now I'm finishing up, finally finishing up Attack on Titan. So once I get
Nice.
through that, I'll probably be looking for. I watched a couple more My Heroes. Maybe I'll get back into that. I'll see. But yeah, I'm
My
finishing up
Hero's
Attack.
so damn good. Oh my God.
Yeah.
The new season's, I think, out on Crunchyroll, but I don't have that. So I watch it on Hulu.
Yeah.
And oh man, I can't wait till it drops on Hulu. Oh my God. The way the last season ended. Dare you?
Yeah.
And then the last one, which is a new anime that just dropped a lot. I think it's only been in Crunchyroll this year, but it got to Hulu, and it's called Go Go Loser Ranger.
Mhm.
And it's really an interesting premise. Basically, they're not called the Power Rangers, but they're basically Power Rangers.
Right. Right.
Yeah, and they've been fighting, the monsters for 20 years, always winning. And one of the putty men basically is like fed up with it. He's like, "This sucks. I'm not doing this anymore." And because they can transform in anything, he decides that he's going to impersonate a person, and then ends up getting sucked into like the Power Ranger training program.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and like tries to infiltrate them so he can kill all the Power Rangers from like the inside.
Mhm. That's a good
And
premise.
it is great. And it's such a flip in like the reversal, because like the Power Rangers, they're always so good and they're the good guys. Well, they basically have a deal with the monsters to keep it going. And they're like, okay, so you're gonna show up every Friday, you're gonna show up at this place, and then we're gonna beat you. And then and then they just been doing this over and over again for like whatever it is, 20 years, 10 years or something like that. Yeah, and they're sick of it. So
I could see this kind of becoming like the Boys story, where it takes something that we already know, and then just like, what if they were all aggressive or greedy, or like the Power Rangers could be that basically.
Dude, yeah, it's kind of like that. Exactly. It's totally like that, where it's like a flip of it. And like all the Power Rangers are kind of, I've only seen like the first red one first, but again, it's like a training program. So there's tiers of you being like a cadet, and you're trying to work your way up so that when the Red Ranger retires, you get to be the next one.
Yeah.
And they're all assholes. Like everybody's an asshole. And yeah, it's cool though. I'm digging it.
Rooting for the putty man to kill everybody. That's crazy.
Kind of. Yeah. But there's also like people who know they're assholes too, that work with them, and they're kind of like, I'm gonna help you kill them. And you're like, what? Wow, it's great. So yeah, it's a cool premise. It just came out. But the last one is, I want to say, outside of X-Men, I think this is the best show on TV. Threaded it from like the joystick threads, but dude, it is phenomenal. I put a couple people on it. I was like, in the dark matter conversation, I brought up Hacks, and man, like some of them have watched it and they're like, dude, I'm 9 episodes in. I love this show. I'm like, yeah. So if you like Sex Lives of College Girls, if you like Shrinking, there's some Ted Lasso-esque moments in there. You're gonna dig this show. It is phenomenal. Yeah.
Hell of a good cast too. What's the main, not the younger one, but the older one?
Jean Smart, I think.
So good at what she does.
Dude.
Yeah.
She's so good, so phenomenal. The premise, basically, in a nutshell, is there is this woman comedian. She's kind of older, and rather than touring the world now, she basically gets a residency at Vegas. Like we've seen a lot of big acts do, right? Britney
Well, yeah.
Spears, Celine Dion, all
Usher.
that
Yeah.
stuff, right? Carrot Top, especially, which he's in season 3. He
That's funny.
cameos. But basically her career is kind of going down, and this girl tweets something offensive and gets canceled, and she's a comedy writer. So basically they have the same agent, puts them together, and they have this unlikely friendship, and then it's working relationship that then turns into a friendship. And God, it's just so wonderful. It's season 3 now. We've already met a lot of their friends, a lot of their family. We've seen a lot of the trauma, but they're both comedians. So the way they deal with this and talk about everything is so funny. And this season is getting you in the feels while still being hilarious. And also, like, there's moments you're rooting for her so hard. All she wants to do is host late night. And she had the chance to, but it fell apart when her husband divorced her because he was cheating on her with her sister. And she just kind of lost it, and like everything fell apart. And now some 30, 40 years later, she might have the chance to host it again.
Yeah.
And God, it is so good. It also gives you a lot of like behind the scenes of how Hollywood works, especially with late night, if you're interested in that kind of thing, or like how comedy works, or how comedians think. And, with Drake and Scott, they love comedy. So we're always diving into like, Two Bears, what else? Bad Friends, the Joe Rogan, it's like all these comedy podcasts, and getting into their mindset, I think, is really fascinating. So it dives a little bit into that as well.
Yeah, that's over on Max, guys. New episodes out right now, so that's a good shout out right there. On the movie front for May 2, by the way, just tap into that while we're here. We had Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes come out this month. We also had If come out this month, and
I see that.
Yeah, the reviews are mixed, but the cast is so good that I'm gonna give it a shot anyways.
Right.
And then Furiosa, a Mad Max saga, came out this month. So solid movie lineup, the Garfield movie as well, but solid movie lineup too. A really good start for the summer blockbuster season.
Yeah, definitely. What did you think about Furiosa? Because we didn't really get to talk about it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we kind of baked it into, but yeah, it was very good, but being a Mad Max movie both helped and hurts it in a lot of ways. So it's interesting in the fact that, like, being compared to Mad Max, you're like, well, not enough practical effects. Why did we have to go Anna Taylor-Joy? Couldn't we still use Charlize Theron? Not that Anna Taylor-Joy is bad, but there's a few things that were just like, okay, greats though. I mean, like Chris Hemsworth character, holy shit.
Right? I know that Dementis character. I was like, God, Chris Hemsworth is really that dude. Like he's great in everything he does.
Yeah, it's amazing how much he goes from like the conquering warrior to a collapsing emperor in the same movie so well.
Right. Or like, I mean, and then juxtapose it to like other characters like Thor, like he can be like stern and serious and root for him, and also like a goofball, and and the butt of the joke. He's so talented. I'm really, I would have never guessed, that guy when I would looked back at like the Thor movies. You know?
Yeah. And then the world building too, in a world that normally doesn't get any world building. They did an excellent job with that as well. I liked the the wasteland, how the three basically fortresses work together and stuff like that. Again, that's what's nice about this whole franchise, is the fact that this is one very small slice of just Australia and of the world. So like, but it boils down to just these three people, and the fact that Gastown wasn't always part of the program, or was kind of a slippery part of the program anyways. Kind of was cool to go into Fury Road, like you're saying during your review. Fury Road is definitely enhanced by this movie, and now going into Fury Road, seeing that like, oh, okay, so they have Gastown, but they had Gastown for maybe like 5 years now. It hasn't been in control the whole time, and Immortan Joe, like they did a really good job of kind of showing that Immortan Joe, the reason he's in charge is he's also like the smartest guy in the room all the time, and before that wasn't necessarily the case. It just seemed like he was this like monstrous individual, I guess I should say, but he also is like, the genius too, that's controlling everybody around him. So it was cool. It was a really good movie.
Right. Yeah.
I gave it a 7.5 out of 10, like just to kind of clarify, because I think the CGI was bad when it was used, stuff like that. But like 7.5, I think it was like, I would definitely say go see this in theaters.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Can I say something controversial maybe too?
Right away.
Yeah. I don't think I don't really feel like Anna Taylor-Joy brought much to this role.
I agree. That's why I was like, if we didn't do a certain time jump here and there, we could have done Charlize Theron, who I think is flawless. So.
Right, but that's what say. Were you okay? But I think I maybe spoiled it in my like non-spoiler review. But you don't really see her until like halfway through the movie, and it's a joy.
Right, which I like for a movie. It was like they're trying to make a more full movie than what Mad Maxes are, but Mad Maxes are notoriously good because they're not full. Like they're like you're immediately just following a shit going down. So that's the thing. So I think as for a standalone movie that wasn't Mad Max attached at all, that would be fine. But because it's Mad Max and we normally expect to see Mel Gibson or Tom Hardy second one being ran down or running down somebody, it was weird to not get Anna Taylor-Joy second one. So that was hard.
Yeah. I understand what they were doing with the chapters. Like I respect that from a story standpoint, but yeah, and I love the world building. There was elements where I'm like, oh, this is really Mad Max. And then there was elements where like they were in chapters where I was like, oh, this doesn't feel Mad Max to me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, Jonathan and I were like, this is a show that they've just cut down to a movie length with the chapters. You could have done an entire episode about each one of those chapters comfortably.
Ooh, I wonder if it would have been not better, maybe better if it was done on Max in like a series.
Think about the attack on Bullet Farm. How cool that entire episode would have been. That would have been the penultimate episode. That would have been like if we were thinking about Max, and I'm thinking like in comparison to House of the Dragon, which is kind of how it felt with the way the time was jumping. But like that would have been the penultimate episode that everybody's talking about, and then you wrap it up with the finale and how she kills Dementis. Like it was so stationed well for movie segments. But or for show segments.
Yeah. No, totally. Yeah, that's funny. It was interesting, I think, from a pacing standpoint for me. And I love the world building. It's such a cool world they build. But just pacing felt a little off. And I wish Anna Taylor-Joy had more to do. It was just okay. Yep.
All right. So I would like to shift over to my segment now. My thing I'm bringing to the table today is we're heading into blockbuster season, right? It's the summertime, time to go to the movies, cool off in the theater. So let's go over some of the movies that are coming out. Now, I will state that it's a dud this season, guys, because we had the strikes last year. So everything got delayed, everything got moved around. So keep that in mind. Like Marvel, of course, is far lighter than normal. But we're starting things off with Bad Boys 4, Ride or Die. I've lost interest in this franchise fully. What about you?
Oh no, I liked the last movie actually. It was really good, surprisingly good. I was never like a massive Bad Boys fan, but I know what it means to some people. Like it's a big deal to a lot of people. Michael Bay crushed. He made so much money off the first two movies.
Of course.
But I'm not rushing to see this in theaters. Like this is not a day one buy my pre-sale ticket.
No, I'll wait for it to hit streaming. Honestly, I liked the first two a lot, and so hopefully they can capture that again. But I don't know. It's just kind of just not there anymore. Something about it. I'm not sure. It's like it's too high budget now or something. I'm not sure.
Did you watch the last one?
I think I might have started it. I don't think I even finished it.
It was pretty good. Like it had a really awesome cast and like the action was cool, but it's just like it's the stick of like two old cops. Oh, I'm getting too old for this, but like over and over and over. Are you ever really too old for this if you keep doing it? Like, I don't know, but
I used to love Lethal Weapon, and looking back at like how old Danny Glover was back in those movies, he was in his 40s. It's like, you're not too old for this, buddy. I'm going to tell you that right now. As a person who's looking at 38 right now, don't you dare say you were too old for this shit.
I know. I know. It's so funny. Even Father of the Bride, when you look at Steve Martin,
yeah, dude.
Yeah. He was like supposed to be an old dad. And he was also, I think, in his like 40s.
Yeah. There's so many things. The Golden Girls were early 40s. All the Golden Girls.
No.
They were in their 40s. The Golden Girls.
What? That's silly. Okay, that's a silly one.
Pulling it up right now.
I believe you. I just think that's ridiculous. Like they, maybe when they first started, but there's no world in the later years where they in their 40s are supposed to be in their 40s.
So 45. It looks like 50s, mostly 50s. Okay, so that makes me feel a little bit better.
Okay, I was gonna say, I was like, that's a 30 years off. That's that's like casting a 30-year-old to play a 10-year-old. Like, come
Still too
on.
young. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Bad Boys is June 7th. On June 14th, we got Inside Out 2. I
Oh,
want to
okay.
see this in theaters, but you know what I got to do first? Watch Inside Out 1. So
Oh, you didn't watch Inside Out
I,
1?
I know, and even when Disney Moms covered this, I was editing their episode. I was like, no spoilers, no spoilers, because I still have to watch it. It's been so long, so I'm gonna watch one
Yeah.
and then go right into two.
Dude, yeah, that's a fantastic, just like laundry.
Yeah,
It's messed up to say maybe, but it's like a fantastic laundry movie. Just throw it on, like you will get all the beats that you need to. Like the
yeah,
characters are silly and it's fun. Like, yeah, again, not a day one have to see in theaters for me, but I
right.
probably will go see in theaters. But it's okay.
To me, matinees Tuesdays for my theater that's near me,
Ooh, yeah.
$6 to go watch a movie. So that's like the perfect. That's a perfect Tuesday matinee.
Yeah, I love those Tuesday deals. You're right.
Mhm.
You're right. That's a Tuesday watch.
Coming out also on June 14th on Netflix is Ultraman Rising. Ultraman is on the rise. And so
Yeah.
we have this and we have a new team up. I think it's with the Justice League. Or
Yeah,
is it
yeah,
with
yeah. I saw
Avengers?
that. No,
Okay.
no, it's just yeah, pretty sure it's a Justice League.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's cool to see Ultraman kind of getting back into. I remember back in the 90s, just like kind of Power Rangers level cool stuff happening with
To-
him.
totally. Yeah, Drake's a big fan, and it used to be um on like rotation in Hawaii in like the subtitles. Like you could watch it on channel 10 like all the time,
Yeah.
that Pokemon, that kind of stuff. It was
God, it's gonna
massive.
Drake was just talking about something on your latest episode, and I can't remember what it was, and I was like, "Oh, I'm fully on board." Damn it, now I forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that messes me up when I forget things like that. Okay. Uh, also in June 8th, 9th, and 10th, the re-release in North America for the Lord of the Rings trilogy. So the Fellowship's on the 8th, Two Towers 9th, Return of the King on the 10th. So if you want to see those back in theaters, this is your chance, guys.
Yeah. Which one are you gonna go see all of them? Or like if you could only pick one, which one did
Two
you see?
Towers is my
Dude,
go-to.
that's what I was
Yeah.
gonna say.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Helm's
love
Deep with that sound again.
yes.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and then Gandalf the White coming in with like the rest of the
Oh,
warriors in all that white. Oh my
yeah,
god, that part
so
is so
so
sick.
good.
Yeah, it's a good
Oh
one.
man, perfect movies, man.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's jump to June 28th. We have two movies I want to watch. So, A Quiet Place Day One. That's the name of it.
Ooh.
Is A Quiet Place Day One.
Yep.
So this is going to be like when, of
That's a
course,
day one.
the
Yeah.
aliens invade. So we're going to be seeing everything go down. The comet coming in.
Mhm.
That'll be interesting to watch. And then we also have part one. It's called Horizon: An American Saga. When this was first announced, I was like, I don't really care.
Yeah.
This is Kevin Costner's self-funded movie,
Oh.
and it's a fully Western. And it's part one, and part two is coming out in a month or so after that. There are some TikTokers that I really like, actors, because I follow some small time actors on TikTok that are in
Yeah.
this movie.
Oh
I
wow.
look forward
Cool.
to seeing them in there. But it has gotten like at Cannes, it's like standing ovation for 10 minutes kind of thing. That's always a good sign.
Wow. Huh.
Yeah, and he is like,
Costner's.
what I love is like he's breaking down during that, because he was just like, this is his swan song. Like this is his final good classic Western movie. And I'm hoping it's done well, and I'm hoping it's just a good story and not crazy. So we'll see.
Yeah, man, you sold me on it. Yeah, I'm not a big Western guy. Like it doesn't always like super appeal to me, but
Yeah.
yeah, Kevin Costner just fantastic. Obviously, everybody knows Yellowstone, but even back in the day,
Yes.
like he was
Yeah.
just that guy. You know, Waterworld, Dances with Wolves,
Yeah.
Postman. Like he was good in all of that.
Tin Cup. If you're talking, there's some hit and misses there, but yeah, that was there.
That was, but he was. I mean, he was like spreading it wide. Like
Yeah.
he was doing some buckshots. So
Yeah.
it's pretty impressive how long of a career he's had and how great of an actor he is. He's kind of, in a weird way, I still feel like he's underrated now. Maybe not back then, but now I feel like
Not that, yeah, for sure. Like Yellowstone, I think he's really big with a certain right sector. And Yellowstone's a good
the
show.
right
It's,
sector.
you know,
No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, then that's exactly right. And that's what I'm hoping this movie is not about. But we'll have to see. Yeah.
It's just, I'm sure it's just going to be a great story and great character, you know?
That's one thing that really pushes it for me, is like the small actors that I follow on TikTok that are in this movie would not be in a movie that's that way. So I'm like, okay, so it's probably going to be just a good Western story then. That's going to be nice.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun. July 3rd, we got 4th of July weekend coming in that era, right? So what are you going to be watching? So we have Despicable Me 4 coming out in theaters.
Clever.
Should be fun. I'm kind of like not really paying attention to those anymore. I like the first couple. And then this is the thing that Drake was talking about that I'm like, oh yeah, I cannot wait for this movie.
Mm.
Is Beverly Hills Cop, the new one, Axel F. And this is 4 essentially. 3 was so damn good. Anyways, so yeah, Beverly Hills Cop, fantastic story. Eddie Murphy, can't wait to watch this.
Yeah, you're right. I know. I was putting a clip together for it, and then they were talking about Beverly Hills Cop 3, and I thought that was it just brought back all the nostalgia
Yeah.
of them shooting in the Wonderland and like seeing Surge. Like I got the
Yeah.
gun for you. Like when Drake was doing the accent so well. That was. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I want to go back and revisit these movies because I remember them being a lot of fun when I was a kid.
The music was so good too. And right away, like the trailer that they put out for XLF had the same music again. I was like,
right.
They got me.
Yeah. That part. Yeah. Every time you hear it, you're still like, hell yeah. Like, even if you don't remember the movie, you still know that song.
Brings me back to my Nokia phone when I used to have ringtones that you'd like. That was one of my ringtones. And they were like that. They weren't full music sound. They were actually like just partial.
That was right. And they all sounded like an 8-bit video game, like beep, 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 beep. But if it was whatever song I think I had the X-Men theme song for a little bit on, a red Nokia. That was it. That was just like a dumb phone, like it had just your dials and like hang up call, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Snake. Yeah.
Once I found out how to illegally download ringtones, I was the guy, man. I had so many of them. Hotel California, so many of them. Just like, oh God. Yeah. To wrap up July, which we'll have to review day 1. We'll have to watch it multiple times.
Yeah.
July 26th, Deadpool and Wolverine.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I have some interesting things maybe about watching that. So I have somebody, I don't know if this is for sure, but I have a few people on the inside that are going to notify me as soon as the Deadpool and Wolverine premiere happens in Hollywood.
Okay.
So my goal is to be up there that week. Usually for Marvel movie releases, or at least for the MCU, they do like a Monday premiere. So my goal is to try to be at that.
That'd be nice.
So I could possibly be there for that. And a lot of people, maybe people know him. I don't know. That I'm a big fan of his work, but I talked to Brandon Davis from comicbook.com and I was like, hey man, what show are you going to? Cause he's going to be down here for San Diego Comic-Con. And he's like, oh, I'm going to this AMC. So I might be going to see the movie with him on Wednesday.
That'd be cool.
Night. Yeah. So I'm stoked. I got crappy seats, but whatever.
Who cares? It's the environment. That opening day, man. Like there's nothing when it's a big Marvel movie like this, you got to go as early as possible because the energy in the room is worth the price just to get into the room. Like it's so cool.
True. Oh, man. Okay. You sold me on it. So I was like, maybe I'll just use it because you get those tokens now. Remember I don't know if you've seen those going around, those machines.
I'm so pissed. I went to my theaters and tried to do that. They didn't have it.
Oh, no.
So I was like, what the shit, man? So yeah,
I'll try to get you one if I can, but
no, it's okay.
But yeah, I guess if you get a pre-sale ticket, you get a coin. You can then take that coin and then it plays like a claw machine. This is for, I think but this is for whoever doesn't know. And then you grab it and basically in the machine is the Deadpool and Wolverine necklace, the best friend necklace with the hearts, but in half. So I 100% want to get that for Christina. So we'll see which theater has it, but at least I have a pre-sale ticket. I just bought one. I was like, screw
for
it.
Christina. I'd be wearing it myself, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Dude, I bet you so many people are going to be reselling it online for stupid amounts of money because you're not going to be able to buy it anywhere. I don't think.
If it's not insane, I'm buying one. I was so mad. I was like, come on, what the hell, guys? I have like 5 theaters near me. None of them have it.
Yeah. Really? Oh yeah. Do you have any Regals or AMCs?
I have a Regal. Regal's my number one, my main one I go to.
Dude, check. See, they don't have it though.
That's the one I checked. Yeah, they didn't have it. I was like, what the? They had all the signing, like they had the big necklace image and stuff like that. No actual machine, no nothing.
Damn, you might have to go to Sacramento proper just to get that.
I'm gonna have to drive to San Francisco. That's the thing. Fucking make the ride.
Worth it.
And then in August 9th, we're starting to wind down the summertime. We got Borderlands on August 9th. Now, I don't have super high hopes for Borderlands, but the fantastic surprise of, I think last year, maybe the year before, was that Dungeons and Dragons movie. that was kind of out of nowhere, a blast to watch. I love to rewatch it. It's great. This might capture that feel again. Let's see.
Yeah, for sure. You know what? I don't hate it. I don't think the trailer was that bad. I think it looks fun. I don't have a deep connection to the game. I have played one of them. I don't know if it's Borderlands 3 or 4, but I don't have like a deep love of the game per se. So
yeah,
I don't mind the actors that they chose for the different characters. I know some people were complaining about Kevin Hart, but I'm like, whatever. It doesn't really bother me.
Yeah, he's fun to watch.
Yeah, he's fun. And it looks cool. Like the world looks fun. It looks just like wild and wacky, and I'm about it. I mean, the game was fun for that. So I could see myself possibly going week 1 for this.
Yeah, I might do that as well. Again, with low expectations, and I think that's going to make the movie all the better.
Yeah, for sure. Which is 100% how I went into Dungeons and Dragons. I'm like, damn, this movie's really funny.
Blew me away. I was such a fan of it.
Yeah. Last thing I'll say too is the Borderlands people are going to be at IGN Live, so I think we'll have some stuff going out in Geek Freaks, right?
Yep, we will.
Yeah,
that's the plan on Geek Freaks and Joystick Show, and some child accepted post too. All right,
so. Yeah.
Alien Romulus is coming out on August 16th. So if you're an Alien fan, there you go. You got your next Alien movie. That same day we have that part 2 of Horizon, the Kevin Costner movie. So it'll finish up on the 16th. So 2-parters.
Wait, so how is the Kevin Costner thing? Are they going to be releasing part 1 and part 2 in theaters, or is it going to be going to stream? Oh, okay. That sounds like a very Netflix thing to do. That's why.
It does. But again, it's like Kevin Costner's like, here's the money I made in my life. This is the story I want to finish my life with. Boom. So that's why it's like more and more making me want to watch that movie.
Wow, that's so crazy. Yeah. What an interesting release plan too. But like, we always talk about like how movies have influenced streaming, and now it seems like streaming is then influencing the theater or the box office. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
If you think about it.
And we were talking about how there's like less and less event style things going on with TV shows and movies. This feels like he's setting up an event where like you get a couple months to talk about the movie, and then what are we going to see next? It's kind of what they did with Rebel Moon, but I'm hoping better.
Did you watch part 2 of Rebel Moon?
I couldn't get myself to even sit down and log on to Netflix, bro. Neither. I have zero interest in that shit.
Me too. Isn't that sad though? Like,
it's so sad. Yeah.
I've said it before and I will say it again. I think Zack Snyder is a fantastic director. I love the way everything's shot and the way things look. Do not think he can write. No. I don't think he's a good writer.
Yeah, I the fact that they plan on like doing a video game and series and all these different spin-offs for it, I'm like, but why?
They probably lost so much money, I think, on
part 2. Dude, they made a lot of money on it actually.
On part 2?
On the I think it's on.
I know part one they did.
Yeah. But probably enough though to justify like expanding it. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. Because there's so many Snyder's stands out there that'll be like, I'll watch anything he does because we need to bring back the Zack Snyderverse. And
that's
it's
true.
Like, okay, then go watch it. I don't care.
That's true. I can't imagine they do more of it after the reception of part 2. It had like a 4. Again, don't like Rotten Tomatoes, but it had like a 14% on there.
That's it was so terrible. Depressingly bad. That's crazy.
It is. Yeah.
And I just have like you couldn't make it any easier for me. Like literally just sit on my fucking couch and watch a show or a movie. And I just had like, I don't want to spend 2 hours doing that. I will rewatch something I've seen 100 times, like How I Met Your Mother, than that.
Yeah. Or Now It's Always Sunny. Got me into that. Sunny.
Exactly.
That's now I'm watching that when I'm doing my editing. So thanks.
That's good. Okay, wrapping this things up real quick. We have The Crow. This is the reboot to The Crow coming out on August 23rd.
Ooh, I do want to see this.
But I will say the Crow fandom is very loyal to The Crow. Of course, it's a cult classic. And they are dogging on this at every corner. And I'm hoping people keep somewhat an open mind on this. I will be watching it, but I understand that, like, Lee, I can't remember his first name.
Brandon
Lee. I know that it's iconic. I know that it's his signature and it's what he's left behind. But like, let's just give this a shot and let's see. So I'll keep it open mind.
I think the trailer looked awesome, and freaking Skarsgård is a beast. So let's do it.
And then last bit, how I'm going to be finishing up my summer, of course, is September 6th. We got Beetlejuice, which they are doing absolutely everything right that I've seen so far. So here we go.
Oh, very cool. I'm not going to be here, so it's going to be. You're going to have to, tell me what it's about.
I'll find somebody. I'll probably pull Squeaks on for that one because I know he's a old Beetlejuice fan too.
There will be no short supply, I think, of people lining up to see Beetlejuice.
Oh yeah, for
I mean,
sure.
with all the original cast and you know, an updated story for, you know, the picking up where something left off how many years ago now? Like
Yeah.
almost 30 years ago, too. I mean,
I'm
yeah.
looking forward to seeing them. Tim Burton's wanted to make sure to stick to practical effects and sticking to the original tone and feel of the old movie. It would be so easy to update this with like social media memes and stuff like that. Like it seems like
Totally.
they're really pushing on sticking to the vibe of the old ones. I can't wait to see what that looks like. And Tim Burton's one of those directors that has enough sway in Hollywood to make that happen. So let's see it make him happen, make it happen.
Yeah, totally. I mean, and bringing in Jenna Ortega and what he did with Wednesday, like the dude is
Yeah.
still incredible director. It's like a George Miller, you know, or trying to think of somebody who took like a ton of, he didn't really take a lot of time off, but like took some time off, came back
Yeah.
and still killed it. And he's one of those directors. So
Yeah.
yeah, man, I'm stoked. I think it's gonna be great.
Speaking of Wednesday, season 2 sounds so good because they're like, yeah, we overdid the romance in season 1, so we're gonna go back to the scarier stuff. I'm like, yes, that's
Yeah.
like my only complaint. That's perfect. Yeah.
Totally. That was the thing. It was a little bit too high school drama and not enough
Mhm.
Wednesday being Wednesday in
Yeah,
situations. So yeah, I'm about that.
that's gonna be perfect.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, that's been real talk. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed our chit chat, and we're gonna try to do this once a month. I think it was fun, and yeah, it's less structure, so it's really nice for us as editors and whatnot. So
Yeah. This is just off the cuff, you know. We're just gonna be sharing our thoughts. You know, I threw a few curse words in there more than I do when, you know, I try to do the
yeah.
marketable challenge accepted episodes, I will say.
Thank you very much for being a patron, both on Patreon and Bitcade. We appreciate that, of course. Your continued support keeps us going, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Aloha.